I once thought you needed 10,000 downloads to get a sponsor, until I cracked the code. In the early days of my Bootstrapped SaaS podcast, I stared at my dashboard and felt the sting of numbers. 300 downloads, 70% completion, and a listener who works at a startup that just launched its first beta. A potential sponsor knocked on the door, but the conversation ended with, "We're looking for 10,000. I realized the real currency was not the raw download count, but the depth of the audience. The first lesson was to know my numbers before I even opened an email. I pulled the last 30 days of data, calculated my average per episode, and noted my completion rate. For a niche show, 500 to 2,000 downloads per episode is perfectly viable if the listeners are decision makers. I also figured my CPM, mid-roll host-read ads in a B2B context, can command $40 to $100 per 1,000 downloads. With 1,000 downloads and a $60 CPM, I understood my show was worth $60 per episode in the eyes of a brand. Next, I stopped pitching random companies. I listened to other Bootstrapped SaaS podcasts, noted who was advertising, and mapped those brands to the categories that mattered: developer tools, SaaS analytics, no-code platforms, and email marketing. These companies were already spending on the audience I served, so I only had to show why I was the better fit. I built a one-page sponsorship kit. It had a single-sentence description, my core metrics, audience demographics, ad format options with clear pricing, and a couple of social proof signals, like a listener quote from a short survey. No fluff, no extra pages. I kept it to a PDF that a marketing manager could skim in 2 minutes and decide. I moved from marketplaces to direct outreach. A cold email that read, "Hi, I'm the host of a SaaS founder podcast that reaches 800 downloaders per episode. Your tool fits our audience perfectly. Would you be open to a quick call?" was far more effective than a generic attachment. I followed up once, tracked each contact, and kept the list alive for the next quarter. When structuring deals, I started with a test run, a 2-episode package at my standard rate. No discount for the trial, only for larger campaigns. Flat rate deals were safest for shows under 2,000 downloads. I wrote simple agreements, just an email confirming dates, ad copy, and payment, because over-engineering scared away small sponsors. Guests became my best lead source. After each interview, I asked, "What tool do you rely on?" and noted the names. A warm intro from a guest or a mention in a community post turned into a sponsorship conversation in half the time it would have taken a cold email. I discovered the Profitable Founder podcast, a weekly deep dive with founders earning between $100K and $10 million a year. Listening to it taught me how to position a niche audience and why sponsors love specificity. I applied that same mindset to my own show. I learned that the smallest numbers can matter the most when the audience is highly qualified. A sponsor cares about who listens, not how many. The right sponsor will see that my listeners are buying decisions in their desks. Now, if you're a bootstrapped SaaS founder with a podcast, start by crunching your numbers, target the brands already in your space, and pitch with a clear one-page kit. Your audience is the asset. Your sponsors are the bridge. Reflect on this. Is your show speaking to the right people, or are you chasing the wrong metric?